been a few days since the mugs were debuted on the Villa View podcast earlier this week. As it turned out, there was a nice reaction to them of people saying yes, they'd like to buy one, they look really nice, and how much were they, and we're bombarded with questions, DMs, emails, all sorts of stuff. We sat down, had a little chat and worked out if it would be possible to sell these mugs, and today we're happy to say that these mugs are now for sale for a limited time only. Before we get into the nitty gritty of how much they cost and where you have to go to buy them, first let's take a closer look at these mugs. Fellow Villa fan Jay Morgan, and also he's appeared on Fancams a few times. You can find him on Twitter at MobuCS. I'll put a link in the description. He gave us a couple of mugs as a sample to see what we thought of them. We sent one out to Matt, Dan, Tom, Chris and obviously myself. We've been really happy with them. The design is nice and simple. The mugs themselves are decent quality and they look really good. And as it turns out, a few of you wanted to chip in and buy one as well. The mugs are on sale now for £10 plus £1 postage and packaging if you're in the UK, or £6 postage if you're outside of the UK. We will ship them internationally if the interest is there. Now let me explain the price in a little bit and how we settled on that number, and just sort of explain why we're going down this merchandise route. I think like merchandise is something that we've been talking about for months now, if not before Matt left us last summer. We've always sort of had people coming to us and say, oh, we'll make you t-shirts, we'll make you mugs, hoodies, whatever. And we always sort of thought, but they wouldn't want to buy a mug with our logo on, or a t-shirt, because do they care that much about what we do? And fortunately, over the last few months, we've learned that people do care enough, and we are extremely grateful for that. So when Jay came to us and said, I've designed you some mugs, are you interested in seeing them? We sort of said, yeah, go on then, we'll have a look and see where it goes. When they arrived, we were happy with them. I've sent them out to Tom, Chris, Dan, Matt as well, and they've all said that they look really good. And the pictures we've shared online and during the podcast, we showed them in the video, and people were commenting saying, yes, I'd love to buy one of these. And we're almost a little overwhelmed with how many people said that they wanted to buy one now. As Dan pointed out in the podcast that Tom said, that there's a difference between people saying, yes, I'd like one, and yes, I'd pay for them. I mean, obviously we understand that difference. So as we were getting a bit closer to working out, is this something we can actually physically do, we put a poll out on Twitter to say, look, how much would you be comfortable paying? And the results varied from people saying, oh, well, I'd pay £3, I'd pay £4, up to people saying, I'd be happy to support you guys and pay 15, 20. Now we've tried to settle a little bit in the middle ground. That we understand that some people are going to look at the £10 price and go, I'm not paying £10 for a white mug with a logo. It's not worth that. And whilst that's fair for the physical product, that yes, it is a white mug with our logo on and coffee stain there, this mug wouldn't be worth £10 to buy in a shop as it is. However, it's not really about the mug. It's not about the physical object that you receive in the post for this £10 or £11 postage, or 16 postage if you're in Australia, America, Norway, wherever it is. It's our way of raising some funds for this channel to produce more video content. We've almost got to a point now where we can't do any more than we're doing without investment of some kind. Now we're trying our best to find sponsorship deals and brand deals and things like that, but at this current stage we're working a little bit behind the scenes to try and get things covered, but there's nothing firmly in place for the season to go, right, we've got a little pot of cash there to spend on extra content. We've had messages in the past, people saying, oh, set up a Patreon, set up a donation page, I'd like to send you 20 quid to help out and things like that. And that's something that I've always personally sort of shied away from a little bit, that I don't want to feel like this is a charity case to people just send me money for nothing in return. Obviously the content would increase with more funds, but I felt like without giving anything back for that £15, £20, whatever it is, that almost, it didn't sit right with me, to quote Dan. So we considered putting up a listing on a sale site somewhere to say, look, to make a profit we need to sell it for £5, but if you want to pay more, if you feel like you want to give extra money to the Villa View, you can add a donation of £10, for example. So you'd pay £15 for a mug, but if you only wanted to pay £5, you could just pay £5. However, we couldn't find a site anywhere that would do that service for us. So we sort of settled on £10 for the people that are happy to pay sort of £6 to £8 to sort of £10 to £12 as a rough middle ground. Now, as I say, some people will look at £10 to go, I'm not paying £10 for a white mug, and that's fair. If you don't want to buy it, you don't have to buy it. Personally, these videos that you watch on YouTube will remain exactly the same. They'll still be there. They won't be shut off now if you didn't buy a mug that you have to sign up to a website to view our videos now. They'll still remain in the same place. We've still got the match previews this season. We've still got fan cams at home games. We've still got the podcast every week. They'll all still be there. However, we feel like with the messages we receive saying, can I send you some money? This is a nicer way of doing that, I think. For example, if you listen to just the podcast and you've listened to every episode, you've probably listened to 55, 60 hours of content on YouTube or iTunes for free. And some people have come to us and said, you do this for free, you do this in your spare time, can we give you a little bit of money to say thanks? And we feel like this is our way of doing that. And in return, you get a physical mug as well. We don't want people to sit there and go, oh, you're charging £10 for a mug and you're just going to run off with the money. Every bit of money that we've ever earned with the Villa View, now we've got YouTube ad revenue, which is pretty low, to be honest. We've had the Ladbrokes deal that we did in our first championship season, I think. We did the One Football thing last year. That money just went into a bank account and it is still there now, a lot of it. And we've used it for buying equipment, like this camera you're watching this on now is new. The microphone that we use for fan cameras was new lighting. Dan was sent a little camcorder down to London so he could record proper videos, because he was using an iPad before. We've given away 2 kits this year and last year, and lucky enough that the guys we've interviewed so far, we were fortunate that they did it as a favour and that they wanted to do it. Brian Little, Ian Taylor, John Gregory. But those sort of interviews, these guys can charge for that as like a media appearance. So if we want to do more interviews and we go to someone and say, oh look, we want to interview, we have to go through an agent usually. We say we want to interview your client, and they might come back and say, oh yeah, okay, we'll do it, but it's going to be X amount of pounds, and we automatically just have to go, oh, we can't do it then. We can't find that money ourselves, and we're not prepared to put in a big amount of money to get a 30-minute interview, for example, at this stage. So that's where we find ourselves today. We're at this crossroads of, we want to do more stuff as best we can. Now, obviously, we still do this as a hobby. It's still part-time. We've got full-time work. We have to squeeze in a 10-minute video here and there, and the podcast is at 8 o'clock on an evening and things like this. And we're going to continue to do what we did last season, at least. Previews, fan cams, and the podcast will all stay the same, regardless. If we don't sell a single mug, everything will stay exactly the same. If we sell the mugs that we think we might be able to sell, we might be able to go to a few more away games this year. I think our work out right now is there'll be 2 videos per away game. We'll do like an away days feature of us travelling to the game and the fan experience and things like that. And then there'll be a second video which will be fan cams as well. So if we get to an away game, we get 2 extra videos than you would have seen if we didn't go to that game, which I think we've been to maybe 4 or 5 away games in the whole of the Villa View so far. Now, if we can sell a few mugs and we can go to 5 or 6 this season alone, that's already, a big increase of what we've previously done. Obviously, we're just trying to grow this channel in our spare time and make the best content that we can for you to watch. For example, we did the tea brew yesterday. I'm not going to go all the way down to London just to film a tea brew and come back. But the theory is there. If I wanted to go and do that, I'd have to pay for my own pocket. Now, if we can raise some cash, I can go, right, it's going to cost me 50 quid to get down to London and back. I'll come down, we'll film a couple of videos, we'll do the podcast, and I'll come back. As it stands, without the fundraising, the merchandise, sponsorship, if we can get that, those sort of things don't exist. It's impossible for me to just go down to London on the weekend and do something like that. It's too expensive to do. So that's why we're at this point now where we're starting off with mugs. Now, this has been a massively rambly video, and I'm probably sure a lot of people have switched off at this point. However, we're starting out with 50 mugs, so it's pretty limited stock, we think. We're hoping. I don't want to be sat in my bedroom with 40 mugs because we can't shift them. We're hoping that with the interest we've got so far, that people will come out and say, yes, I'm happy to buy one. We've set up a website to do it. It's thevillaview.bigcartel.com. I'll put a link in the description and it'll be on all our social media over the next few days. Each mug comes in its own little box with the mug inside. They're all the same design. I don't know whether that comes across on camera very well. There we go. So we've got the Villa View logo there. Oh man, this is hard to do. Left is right and right is left. When we were asking people what they were comfortable paying with, there were people that were saying it's not worth more than £3, it's not worth more than £4. And technically, yes, you are correct. It's a plain white mug with a logo on. We're not breaking new ground here. We maybe felt that we didn't fully explain why we were doing this properly. And as I said earlier, it's not about the mug, it's about helping support the channel and what we do. If we happen to sell 50 of these mugs and we make a decent profit and nothing on this channel changes, I expect and I want you to come back to me and say, where did the money go? Because we're not going to take this money and split it 3-4 ways and go, right, okay, after the pub we go, let's go out and have a good time. We'll reinvest every penny of this money back into this channel in some form at some point. As I say, we've done brand deals in the past and there's money still sat in a bank account waiting to go. Admittedly, it isn't that much, but it's there to do little bits and pieces when we need to. Now, if we can fill that bank account a little bit more, we can go, right, let's do an away game this month. Let's go down to London and film the podcast together. Let's try and get into this YouTube space. Let's contact an ex-Villa player and say, okay, we can offer you this amount of money to do an interview. Are you up for that? Now, I've been recording so long that the camera's just cut off because it's too hot in this room and my lights are dying, but I'm going to try and wrap this up audio only. I'll chuck some more video of the mugs on top for you to enjoy. I hope I've been able to explain it properly as best I can. I feel like I might not have articulated my thoughts as well as I wanted to heading into this video. I've been rambling for 25 minutes now, something ridiculous. The crux of the issue is we've got 50 mugs to sell. There's a link in the description to go and buy them. We're selling them for £10, which will make a decent profit for the Villa View to improve our video output in some capacity. That's our aim, and that's what we're going to try and do. With some extra cash behind us, we can book in away days and interviews if we can find the people willing to do it. Or you might see that the video quality improves or the sound quality improves as we buy new equipment and little things like that. You know, it all adds up to a better experience for you watching our stuff. And if you've enjoyed what we've done so far, these mugs and a little bit of cash behind us isn't going to change the way that we do things already. So if you have enjoyed this video and you like the look of the mugs, then please do head it to the link in the description and purchase one. We'd really appreciate if you could support us and help the channel grow. Thanks for all your support. Do check out the mugs and up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.